What were the key takeaways from Week 6 fantasy football from Sunday's NFL action? Who are the players who disappointed, the ones that surprised, and who got hurt? It's time to break it down right here and right now as we begin another edition and another week of Locked On Fantasy Football.
Our Locked On Fantasy, your daily NFL fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Locked On Fantasy Football Podcast. As usual, I'm your host, Vinnie Iyer. When I'm not doing this, I'm writing about NFL and fantasy football for sportingnews.com. It was a crazy Week 6 with the NFL Sunday action here. And a lot of things that we expected to go right in fantasy football did not. Then a lot of big developments on the positive end also happened that we did not see coming. So a lot of good stuff to break down on today's show as we do more reactions for you on a Monday. So it's our reactions day. What we'll do first is start with all the ones who disappointed. These are the guys we play panic or patience with. Should we panic about their performances or be patient and knowing that it's a one-week fluke or that things are going to get better for them here pretty soon? So we'll examine that. We'll also look at, are you for real? These are the players that exceeded our expectations, had breakout performances here in Week 6. And then we'll close looking at the injury updates because there were a few here, not as many. It wasn't as attrition-wise here that we saw in the previous weeks, but still some players went down and some concerns we have going into Week 7. So break that down for you here. Thanks for making Locked On Fantasy Football your first listen today. We are free and available to you on all platforms. Today's episode of Locked On Fantasy Football is brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks presents daily fantasy made easy. Pick 2 to 5 players, and if they score more or less than their PrizePicks projection, you can win up to 10 times your money on your entry. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with the promo code Locked On. That's PrizePicks.com, promo code Locked On. All right, let's dive into the disappointing performances here. We'll start at quarterback, and really we'll make it a stack here between Tom Brady and Mike Evans. So Brady gets a touchdown late there. It goes to Leonard Fournette. So another receiving touchdown, the second in 3 weeks for Leonard Fournette. So he's looking good. He's had 3 great weeks in a row here for the Bucs feature back here, but everything else a little disappointing. Chris Godwin was pretty good in this matchup against the Steelers. Steelers secondary was depleted. No Cameron Sutton. No any presence of Minkah Fitzpatrick in the middle of the field. They were gutted all over here, but Tom Brady in this passing game just started slowly. I think they went a little conservative, run heavy. I think they didn't expect the Steelers to put up a fight here with their offense until Kenny Pickett got hurt and got out of the game with a concussion. That was a bummer here for the Steelers side of things. But when you look at that in this game, that it didn't play out the way we expected, right? Either way, I thought Brady in this passing game with Mike Evans would go up, but only 4 for 42 for Brady, 243 and 1 for Tom Brady. They struggled there, didn't convert some fourth downs, had issues in the red zone here. So still some of the same struggles. Evans, again, that 4 for 42 number against that secondary is pretty bad here with all those injuries that the Steelers were experiencing. It gave us a limited result there for George Pickens and Deontay Johnson. At least Najee Harris got in the end zone in that game on the other side. But Brady and Evans definitely disappointing here. They didn't really go off as we expected last week against Atlanta either. This team has changed. It's gone Leonard Fournette forward first with the running game and Fournette is the backfield, but they're not pushing the ball downfield. Brady called out and chewed out, I should say, his offensive line here is bad play up front. Donovan Smith struggled. The Steelers pass rush didn't have TJ Watt, so that was inexcusable there to have some bad protection there for Tom Brady. He let them know about it. Maybe it led to more dysfunction here, but disappointment there. Now, panic or patience with these guys. I mean, Brady has kind of been panicked early. He had the rebound game a couple weeks ago there against the Chiefs in garbage time, but the Falcons game only 1 touchdown pass. This game only 1 touchdown pass. That's going to happen from time to time. You want to know if he's playing well. the eye test said he wasn't playing all that great with only 243 yards passing despite high volume there. So we'll see. They do get the Panthers this week. Panthers pretty tough there on Matthew Stafford, only one touchdown pass and similar numbers there that Stafford put up in that game. So something to watch with Tom Brady, but you can't just say he's a must start, lock and load him every week here. Evans, you still feel that way about. I would be patient with him. He can always have that 2-touchdown game and explode like we've seen in recent weeks, but he's a boomer bust guy. You knew that when you drafted him. He can make a big plays and touchdowns, or he can disappear. That's what we saw here with Chris Godwin and Leonard Fournette moving the ball most here for Tampa Bay. Now, Aaron Rodgers was a big disappointment as well. Al Lazard was not. He continues to be impressive, scoring in every healthy game of the season. Alan Lazard has done that. So he's a big touchdown scorer. He's pretty much replaced Devontae Adams in that role for Rodgers, but the downfield threat's not there without Adams or Marquez Valdes-Scantling. Only 248-1. Where are the backs in the passing game? This is also a stack that we're going to talk about here. Rodgers, and then not having anything for him, Aaron Jones, 12 touches for 44. A.J. Dillon, 14 touches for 52. That's 26 touches combined in a game that they were trailing against the Jets. Couldn't get anything done in the passing game or the running game here. So really that's going to open up things for Rodgers here. But Al Lazard was spectacular. So is Robert Tonyan. We'll get into him later in the show. But Randall Cobb went down in this game with what appears to be a high ankle sprain. Christian Watson in play with a hamstring. So there are some concerns here with this passing game. And then you're getting not enough from Jones and Dillon, either in the running game to support and set up a little bit easier passing for Rodgers, or to be a part of the passing game and deliver there as receivers. They were big factors there last year. It's kind of puzzling that they're not this year. But they've had a couple big rushing performances there, but everything else has been very questionable this season from these two running backs. So Packers offensive line maybe underachieving a little bit. David Bakhtiari and Elgton Jenkins coming back from injuries. I still think you practice patience. I think Jones and Dillon can get going. The schedule is tough coming up, but they do have a couple of good matchups around the corner, the Commanders and Lions. They do have to play the Bills, so that would detract you from playing Jones and Dillon. I thought this was going to be the get-well game for both of these guys in the running game and lean on them, but Rodgers looked okay. Just going to get the second touchdown pass. That would have been a salvageable day there, but really he was down to Alan Lazard. Romeo Doubs was struggling there. We told you about the injuries to Cobb and Watson going into the game, so there was not much out there for Rodgers, and it showed there was a 248-1. Now, this next player actually played well. What we were looking for from Geno Smith was a little resistance from Kyler Murray here. So 197-0 for Geno Smith. He did have 48 yards rushing, so that kind of made his day not as terrible. If he had interceptions and not enough rushing yards, it would have been pretty bad, but he can't quite get to the 8 points with the passing yardage. He gets the 4.8 with the rushing yardage, but no touchdowns. The Seattle team just kind of stalled in the red zone. They did score with Kenneth Walker out of the backfield. He shot out of a cannon and produced the only offensive touchdown. But the problem was the Cardinals didn't have much resistance here. 222 passing yards for Kyler Murray without interception. He did have, or one interception, I should say, 100 yards rushing, but not enough offense on the other side for the Cardinals, and that kept Geno Smith from having to throw for high volume, especially with Ken Walker running. So Geno Smith still played well in reality, but it didn't add up to fantasy points because what we were hoping for, resistance from the Cardinals there and them having to throw a little bit more to DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, that didn't materialize. They controlled the action, led all the way, and Walker was spectacular in this game. So, Geno, that's going to happen. I mean, it doesn't happen very often when a quarterback plays pretty well. But when you're throwing for less than 200 yards and winning, you're not going to get the touchdowns necessarily. So that's what we saw here from Geno Smith. So those two guys were really disappointing. I thought that was going to be more of a shootout. I'm just shocked to see what Kyler Murray was not able to do in the passing game against that Seahawks defense. Seahawks defense, credit them. They overachieved at home. You saw the result. This team won. I mean, same thing. If you get disappointment like the Jets wide receivers in that same Packers game, if they're winning the game, they're not going to change that game plan. And I can see that too. If that Ken Walker gives them that special burst out of the backfield. Kenneth looking like a potential rookie of the year candidate there with Breece Hall and Dameon Pierce, that they're not going to force the ball up there. It was a combined 4 catches for 51 yards for Lockett and Metcalf here. So that's not great when you look at the two top wide receivers. So you want these teams to throw, face a little resistance in a matchup that is favorable. You don't want to get them into a position where they can run, they're playing with a lead, and then you're not going to get the fantasy passing points. So a little bit of inside fantasy there, but that can affect your passers. And again, that definitely was in play a little bit as the Smith-Murray performance against each other kind of fell flat in that game. So Rodgers and his running back, Smith and his wide receivers, Brady and Evans, some of the biggest disappointments here from week number 6. Now, Kareem Hunt, what was up with this? 4 touches for 12 yards. None of them was a reception. They were trailing big time against the Patriots. I thought he was going to get something, but Nick Chubb was also shut down. So incredible defensive performance by the Patriots. They gave David Njoku in check. Mari Cooper did score, but otherwise 4 catches, 44. Chubb had his worst day in a while here without any touchdowns. So great job by that Patriots defense. The Browns will face the Ravens this week. Should be a little bit easier to run the ball. We saw Saquon Barkley have a little bit more success and throwing it, but Kareem Hunt is not a startable RB2 at this stage, much like A.J. Dillon. I mean, these guys were running the bank in these timeshares that after Chubb and Jones are going to get it done. But right now, Dillon and Hunt, very sporadic in their production. Now, Jeff Wilson Jr., highly disappointing because he lost a fumble this game early, never quite recovered. The 49ers had to play from a big deficit, so only 7 carries for 25 yards and a lost fumble. So virtually a nothing game from Jeff Wilson for that performance. So that's the problem. If they're not in the positive game script because Wilson is not a big pass catcher, you're not going to get those numbers. So I'm going to start to panic a little bit with Jeff Wilson because you have Tyrion Davis-Price healthy now. You have Elijah Mitchell about to come back soon here. Jordan Mason might get more run here. They do have Tevin Coleman. So Jeff Wilson Jr., I mean, this is a fickle backfield. We know that. And you knew that when you were riding Wilson, you wanted to get as many weeks out of him as you could with Mitchell not available. That's happened to some degree, but it's really tough there. Wilson, that could be a sense of panic, even though he's had the big performances. I think this is not really a fluke. I think it could definitely turn here if the results weren't good. That's what you look at. Were the team results good from this disappointing performance? If they were, that might continue a little bit more. 49ers are likely to make changes here in the backfield. Raheem Mostert had the backfield to himself. All of a sudden, Chase Edmonds resurfaced. Go figure. They made Myles Gaskin inactive. The Dolphins did against the Vikings. 14 carries, 48 yards. So not much for Raheem Mostert at all with those touches. So not a reliable guy at all. When you look at CH, very disappointing as well. They're Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 9 carries, 33 yards, no work in the passing game. And it's strange to me because that's what he did at LSU for the most part, but they've treated him more as a limited power runner. They're working in Jerick McKinnon, Isaiah Pacheco more. So these backfields, the Dolphins and Chiefs, have become an absolute mess. Dolphins, again, they went from not having Edmonds involved to treating Edmonds more into the game against the Vikings and totally sitting down Gaskin. While CH, you've seen some run by McKinnon, some Pacheco here. It's getting messier as we go along. If he doesn't score a touchdown, CH has no real fantasy value, especially if he's not catching passes. So disappointment there for sure. T. Higgins came back and had 6 for 47, so a little bit disappointing, but we figured that he might be slow on the ankle injury. I think he'll practice patience there. We know what kind of receiver he is. He'll get going as well as with Evans, Lockett, and Metcalf. They're in good offensive situations. So don't panic there, but the running backs for sure, looking at Dillon, Hunt, Wilson, Mostert, and Edwards-Helaire, definitely some concerns there. Now, wide receiver, you had Isaiah McKenzie had 2 catches for 9 yards and 5 targets. He's not doing it here, coming back from the concussion here. So Khalil Shakir had looked really good the week before. So maybe gives a little bit more run for Shakir as a big slot there, playing off Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis. So we'll see that. But definitely he was disappointing. I mean, I thought Devin Singletary was okay. He did get to the 100 total yards. He did finish as an RB2, but nothing spectacular here. Not getting the volume we're looking for and the scoring there from the Bills' peripheral players. Keep in mind, you had Diggs score, you had Davis score, you had Dawson Knox score. There's sometimes not enough room for all these guys to score, especially if it's a final such as 24-20. You only have 3 touchdowns to pick from here. So McKenzie, disappointing. We'll see if they make that shift more to Shakir's usage here without Jamison Crowder. At tight end, there were really only 2 major disappointments here this week. We actually had a Kyle Pitts touchdown. George Kittle came alive in that same game. Travis Kelce and Mark Andrews both go for more than 100 yards. Zach Ertz came through that really good matchup against the Seahawks. Hayden Hurst, we told you not to play him. The Saints are very tough on the tight end. That's an alert here for week 7 as the Saints face the Cardinals on a short week. So Ertz might be slowed down. 3 catches, 21 for Hurst as they use more Tyler Boyd in the slot. So again, that's how the Cardinals will probably look now. We'll have to see if Marquise Brown or DeAndre Hopkins plays this week. But Rondell Moore, if he gets worked in the slot, could have a nice role here. I'll let Tyler Boyd this game versus the tight end Ertz. Now, Dallas Goedert, Ertz's former team, had only 2 catches for 22 yards. They didn't really need him. The Cowboys are actually pretty decent against the tight end, but it was pretty much the A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith show. So Goddard can be squeezed out of that, especially if they're dedicated to the running game there. So there you have it. Those are the biggest reactions here. Again, the biggest concerns we have are the Bucs passing game and the Packers running game coming out of Week 6 Sunday action. Now, we will get into the surprise performances and what to make of them. Are they for real? Do we believe in them, or is it something we're going to kind of latch onto in fantasy football? We're going to find out here. Now, getting old can change our body, and we can all get a little bit of a dad bod. You can feel a little less like your old self. I don't have time to work out as much as I want, but I want the energy and body that I once had. I discovered eugenics, and it was good. It was revival there. Working out again a little bit more, feeling a little bit better. Feel like you just can't get in shape. It's not your fault. As men age, our body naturally loses testosterone, the man hormone. It happens to every man and can make it more difficult to stay in shape and be energetic and active. Remember when winning felt easy? That's because you were younger. You were at the peak of your testosterone production. Man hormone wouldn't be nice to get that winner's edge again and that old swagger back in your step. Want more energy to counter the negative physical effects of aging? Eugenics Total T Testosterone Booster with Testofen will help you turn back the clock, re-energize your workouts, get you better results in the gym, and help you look like the man you really want to be. Again, Eugenics Total T contains man-boosting key ingredients such as testofen. It has been validated in 5 clinical studies shown to boost free testosterone levels in men. Because Total T from Eugenics boosts free testosterone that aging process robs, you'll feel stronger, leaner, with more energy, drive, and more passion too. Your partner will notice the difference. With every product professes quality, many other products use generic ingredients that are often less than clinical grade. With Eugenics Total T, you get the same clinical potency levels used in the trials, and Eugenics formulation is backed by 10 years of science and research. Eugenics Total T is the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC, and Eugenics Total T can help re-energize your life and help you get back to the powerful, confident, good-looking warrior you used to be. Now, get a complimentary bottle of Eugenics Total T when you text NFL, that's NFL, to 231-231. Text now, you get a bottle of Eugenics Thermo, their most powerful fat incinerator ever, with key ingredients to help you get back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text NFL to 231-231. Again, text NFL to 231-231. Message and data rates may apply. Terms apply. Available at eugenics.com/terms. Our next partner is a product I literally use every day. I started taking AG1 because it just makes me feel better in the morning to start my day. It's a better alternative there if you want to improve your gut health, have more energy, optimize the immune system. The pills and vitamins can only work to a certain degree, but I wanted a supplement that actually tasted great and wanted to see what the hype was about. Well, AG1 delivered on that hype. So what is AG1? With one delicious scoop of AG1, we're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you learn to start your day right. The special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, and aging. All the things you need here. It's easy to incorporate AG1 into my life. I just have a scoop in the morning and I'm good to go here. It's lifestyle friendly, whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, gluten-free. AG1 contains less than 1 gram of sugar, no GMOs, no nasty chemicals, no artificial anything, while still tasting good. Also supports better sleep quality, recovery, mental clarity, and alertness. So one thing that with the best things, Athletic Greens use the best of best products based on the latest science with constant product iterations and third-party testing. Athletic Greens has more than 7,000 five-star reviews, recommended by professional athletes everywhere, and trusted by leading health experts such as Tim Ferriss and Michael Gervais. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just 1 scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NFL Network. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/NFL Network. Take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. All right, we will continue the show in a moment here as we look at the surprise positive performances here of Week 6 Sunday in fantasy football. Thanks again for making Locked On Fantasy Football your first listen every day. Make sure you check out NFL Key Predictions every Friday on Locked On NFL. Locked On's local experts give you the inside scoop on the 5 biggest games in the NFL weekend, including Sunday and Monday Night Football, plus betting advice from the field's leading experts, BetOnline. Follow NFL key predictions every Friday on Locked On NFL, available on the Odyssey app, YouTube, and just like this show, wherever you get your podcasts. All right, let's look at the players that surprised us and try to make sense of all this. Let's start at quarterback. Bailey Zappi, the only player in NFL history to win his first 2 starts as a rookie, rating over 100 in passer rating. What a great performance by Bailey Zappi. 309-2 for Zappi. There looked good with his tight ends, spread the ball around nicely here. The short pass to Tyquan Thornton was pretty for the touchdown. He also had a nice play there where Hunter Henry was roaming down the sidelines free for a touchdown. So all of a sudden we're seeing Hunter Henry and Jonas Smith involved. Devontae Parker's doing things. Jacoby Meyer's been active here, making plays. You got the running game with Ramondre Stevenson rolling here beyond this offensive line. And Bailey Zappi is at the center of it all. And you really see what he did there at Western Kentucky. The high volume, spreading the ball around. He's very calm and efficient and takes his time and throws the ball around well to the open man. So that's what the Patriots are looking for out of their offense. And Zappi's been fantastic the last 2 weeks. Granted, the defense has been pretty weak here, the Lions and Browns, but they get another one in the Bears on Monday night here in Week 7. So I don't know if they're going to change. I mean, there's a report that Mac Jones was more of a Josh McDaniels quarterback here, and Bill Belichick and Matt Patricia and Joe Judge not as tied here to Mac Jones. Also, the mysterious ankle injury could linger to being a little bit more affecting him. So they kind of lucked into this because we had Brian Hoyer had a concussion, went on IR. They were quick to put him on IR. Wonder if they were confident in Zappi and just wanted to go in that direction, see what the rookie could do here. So the Zappi Jones controversy, I think this is real, unlike that Dak Prescott Cooper Rush conversation. That pretty much ended when Cooper Rush threw 3 interceptions there, the loss to the Eagles. But Zappi has played better than Jones, and there's no doubt about it here. And the Patriots have a tough call here between these two. I mean, Zappi's not just been a caretaker. He's making plays all over the field playing off the run. And Mac Jones is really struggling with that with his early performances. So watch out here if Zappi continues, but we like it. I mean, Zappi is getting everyone involved and making more Patriots fantasy football relevant, including helping out Stevenson to have a big game. So I think it's, are you for real? I don't know if I would start Zappi, but we're happy about it that he's putting up these numbers. I think in the right matchups, you certainly can. They're in Chicago. They should smash it on the ground with Stevenson. That should open things up for Zappi this week on Monday night at home. Matt Ryan, 389-3, no sacks. He throws almost 60 times in this game. No pressure whatsoever from that Jaguars pass rush. So great pass protection. The Colts made some adjustments up front. Huge day for all the principals here. We had Michael Pittman Jr. go off. Alec Pierce goes off. But how about Deion Jackson? Unfortunately, you may not have been in position to pick him up quickly when it was announced that both Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines would miss this game. It looked like Taylor could play with the ankle injury. Hines already didn't look good with a concussion, but Deion Jackson just gets the full load here for Philip Lindsay. 22 touches, 121 yards. He had 10 catches in the game and a touchdown to pay off. So Deion Jackson operated like an RB1 the way that we wish Jonathan Taylor would. Maybe that'll happen in Tennessee next week or against the Titans. So we'll see how that plays out here with the Taylor Jackson. But Jackson, however, quad injury at the end of this game, so he might be a little bit banged up. Hines, I don't think he's going to play. So good setup for this running game getting going here with the offensive line. That's great for Taylor's fully healthy return, hopefully in week 7 against the Titans. So, again, that's good news overall. But you had Paris Campbell as well really come through here with a nice game, 7 catches, 57 yards and a TD. They talked him up a little bit more in practice, but Pittman had the big game, but you saw Campbell and the rookie Alec Pierce stay hot. Pierce had the game-winning touchdown there as Matt Ryan decided to heave it in the end zone versus settling for the field goal with Chase McPherson. They win the game that way. We appreciate it in fantasy. I don't think anyone's playing Matt Ryan in season long, but at DFS, he came through with Pittman and Pierce and Campbell. So this passing game suddenly waking up here. They also had good numbers there put up by Jelani Woods, the tight end. Kylan Granson was involved. So this is really the Colts offense waking up just in time. They did it without John Taylor. Again, it came down to the offensive line and the receivers playing well. That's what we saw this week. So are you for real? Let's hope the Colts offense as a collective is for real. I don't know if I can go beyond Pittman and Pierce every week. I think Pittman is the wide receiver 1. Pierce is a strong wide receiver 3. I'm not going to extend to Campbell. So this is a good sign for Jonathan Taylor when he returns that some of the offensive line woes have been fixed, and he can pick up where Jackson left off and give us more of that RB from 2021 here in fantasy football. Hopefully he gets healthy this week, but if not, Deion Jackson still getting the volume. They're going to stay with a hot hand there against the Titans this week. All right, Kenny Drake, 10 carries, 119 yards, and a score there. He had a long burst touchdown. So Kenny Drake, an afterthought. We thought J.K. Dobbins was back. That's it. The Ravens running game starting to get going a little bit. But Kenny Drake ends up being their leading rusher ahead of Lamar Jackson. So interesting development there with the Ravens backfield. So do I believe in Kenny Drake? I don't completely. I think Dobbins may be a little slowed down. You have Gus Edwards also returning. So already for real, Kenny Drake. Remember, a lot of this came on one long run here that went to the end zone. So Kenny Drake, I'm not going to say you're for real. Ezekiel Elliott, if you'd stuck with him as an RB2, you were rewarded here. 14 touches, 86 yards, and a touchdown. Only one catch for 5 yards. So standard league, I think Zeke is still a better play here than Tony Pollard because Pollard, again, still not the lead back. I mean, Ezekiel Elliott keeps trying to bring it here for the Cowboys against the Eagles. He has a definitely good career against Philadelphia, so there was that at play. It was a big game, but they blocked up for him well. Terrence Steele, the right tackle, played really well against that Eagles front, wore them down a little bit. So Zeke Elliott, are you for real? I think he's usable. This matchup was tough and he came through. I just like him more as a flex play on my team than trusting him as an RB2. And I like him more in standard and half point than full point PPR here in 2022. But Kenny Drake, more fluky to me. Zeke, I think, is situational and based on that in relation to Tony Pollard. Now, we had Traquan Smith go off for the Saints. Really not go off, but 3 catches, 43 yards, and a touchdown. If you plugged and played him with all their injuries, you were rewarded there. But he seems to have good chemistry with Andy Dalton, so we'll see about the injuries this week. It's a short week, turning around to play the Cardinals. So Traquan could continue to have a big role here as a top target, even though they're a run-heavy team here in New Orleans. Now, how about our friend here coming through, Allen Robinson, 5 catches, 63 yards for Allen Robinson. What a game for him. It was a rebound. He's had now 2 very good games here this season. We didn't know what we're going to expect, but I think that Rams offense kind of found a groove. They threw that short red zone touchdown to Allen Robinson. That's what his role is going to be, a possession guy working the field. They spread around away from Cooper Kupp. So a little bit get-well game against the Panthers here. So I do like Allen Robinson, but they do have a bye, so they'll find more ways to get him going. But I think Robinson might be for real. We saw him. I think this is the kind of role he's going to have. The 5, 63, and 1. That's the line he can have in several weeks, and we saw that very similar to his good game in week 2, playing off Cooper Kupp. Now Wan'Dale Robinson as well. We have Robinson times 2. The rookie plays his first significant action, 3 catches, 37 yards, and a touchdown from Daniel Jones against the Ravens. So good game for him. Good game for the tight end, Daniel Bellinger, as well. He's been coming on strong, athletic kid, the rookie. 5 catches, 38 yards, and a touchdown. So Wan'Dale and Bellinger, the 2 rookies, making some plays for Daniel Jones here out of necessity. Their receiving room is really down without Kadarius Toney, Sterling Shepard, and Kenny Golladay. Wan'Dale had to be the guy. I mean, he's more talented than Derek Slayton and David Sills and all the rest of their guys. So 3 for 37 and score. I think that's just getting his feet wet there. Bellinger 5 for 38 also. So these targets are going to be key. Help Daniel Jones get 2 touchdown passes in that game. Now we have Robinson and Bellinger. Good signs for them. Chase Claypool. We'll see how long this Kenny Pickett scary concussion lasts, but Mitchell Trubisky certainly makes Claypool more relevant. 8 catches, 104 yards, and a touchdown. It's funny. Pickett is in there. You feel good about George Pickens. Chase Claypool is in there with Trubisky. He feels that a little bit more. That matchup was really good. Again, this Buccaneers secondary was missing a slot player in Sean Murphy-Bunting. They're decent on the outside with Carlton Davis, who's had an up-and-down season, really more on the bad side, but he still has a big guy with size that can give a rookie such as George Pickens a little bit of fit. So Chase Claypool ended up being the guy as big slot, making some plays here. 8 catches, 104, and 1 for Claypool. Are you for real with Claypool? He could easily go back to 1 catch for 10 yards next week. So not buying him at all. We go from a current Steeler to a former Steeler, Juju Smith-Schuster, 5 catches, 113 yards, and a touchdown. Caught all of his targets for Patrick Mahomes. By far his best game as a Chief, his first touchdown as a Chief. So maybe they're treating him as a number 1. Well, he made one big play to make this happen, a little bit of breakdown in coverage. I'm not totally buying Juju. I still think this offense is spreading the ball around here to the other guys. Mecole Hardman also had a nice game. Travis Kelce had a 100-yard game. You also have Sky Moore at some point is going to have a bigger role. So it's by committee every week. Last week it was less of Juju, more Marquez Valdez Scantling there with the production. So It's going to be week to week with Juju. Took advantage of this maybe banged up Bills secondary. A little bit big play and scoring dependent here for Juju. So again, I'm not going to lock him in like Claypool as a wide receiver 3. I'm going to wait and see and how things play out in relation to the rest of the receiving core and that matchup that is to come. So those are the guys that I looked at wide receivers breaking out here. They're at tight end. You had Robert Tonyan, 10 catches, 90 yards. Part of it is the fact that Randall Cobb got hurt with a high ankle sprain. You didn't have Christian Watson, as I mentioned. They need somebody to step up there to help Romeo Dobbs, who was struggling there against the Jets, and Sauce Gardner. So Tonyan and the work in the middle field, 10 catches, 90 yards. Now, he used to be a touchdown guy only, but they need Tonyan. So Tonyan and Lazard are going to be his go-to guys, Aaron Rodgers, for a while here. So like that, 10 for 90. I think he's for real. He was coming on here as a bigger factor, and now he's entrenched here given their wide receiver limitations and injuries. How about one Jake Ferguson, 4 catches, 40 yards on touchdown. This is supposed to be the Dalton Schultz production, but I did like Ferguson, a receiver out of Wisconsin. Again, they've made a big deal that he's Barry Alvarez's grandson, so a little bit connection to the Wisconsin Badgers. We know the Badgers have a decent history with tight ends in the NFL here. They've had a good tight end set. So Dalton Schultz, we'll see. Maybe that knee injury is lingering a little bit more for the Stanford product. We'll see if he can go this upcoming week here. But looking at Jake Ferguson could have a bigger role as we go forward if Schultz is definitely hurting with that knee injury. Surprise scratch for this game, so maybe a little bit of setback there that we're worried about for the Cowboys veteran starting tight end. All right, there you have the Are You For Real guys here from week number 6. We broke down the panic or patience guys, and we'll close the show looking at the injuries here for you that came out and things that you have to think about and decisions you might need to make here on this week in week 7. PrizePicks is one of the easiest things to do there to play daily fantasy sports here. You can go and look at tonight's game, for example. If you don't like Russell Wilson to hit his PrizePicks projection, you can say that he's going to go below that tonight with his passing yards, so something you can look at. Or you might be interested in Austin Eckler on the positive side and going over his projected total there for PrizePicks. So it's great. It's an easy format. All you have to do is pick those 2 to 5 players. You have a chance to win 10 times your money there. We give you some PrizePicks suggestions every Friday here at Locked On Fantasy Football. You pick 2 to 5 players. If they score more or less than the PrizePicks projection, you can win up to 10 times your money on any entry. It's not just competing against other people, just you versus projections available. PrizePicks offers projections on any sport that you watch. That includes the NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, PGA, college football, college basketballs. They include men's and women's soccer, WNBA, esports, NASCAR, tennis, MMA, boxing, disc golf, your basketball, cricket, and so much more. Yeah, PrizePicks has got you covered for any sport that you want to play. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It's that easy. Safe and fast withdrawals when you play on PrizePicks. And it's currently operational. PrizePicks is in over 30 states and Canada. Download the PrizePicks app or go to PrizePicks.com to sign up to play daily fantasy sports. First-time receivers users can receive 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with the promo code Locked On. First-time users, $100 up to with an instant deposit match. All you have to do is enter the promo code Locked On. If you deposit $100, PrizePicks will give you $100. If you deposit only $50, PrizePicks will also give you $50. Don't forget to enter promo code Locked On and sign up for an instant deposit match up to $100 only at PrizePicks.com. Daily fantasy made easy for you. All right, it is time to close the show looking at some injuries that we need to keep track of here for week 7 coming out of week 6. At quarterback, P.J. Walker replaced Baker Mayfield, who's having the ankle issue. He had Sam Darnold has the foot issue. Head injury for Walker. He had to come out late. Yeah, Jacob Eason could not close out a garbage time drive there through an interception in the red zone. Skylar Thompson had to be exiting the game for the Dolphins. This has been an absolute mess here. Teddy Bridgewater returned there to replace him. He was active. We had Tua Tagovailoa who had cleared concussion protocol but didn't play, so I have no idea who's going to play against the Steelers this week. Mike McDaniel, this has just turned into an absolute mess after that Tua Tagovailoa breakout game, blow-up game in week 2 against the Ravens. Kenny Pickett, unfortunately, went into concussion protocol. They played each other. Gosh, it's Dolphins Steelers on Sunday night, so we're going to have to sweat that one out, knowing who the quarterbacks are going to be between Bridgewater and Tagovailoa and Thompson and Pickett and Trubisky. Oh boy! And these passing game options. I mean, really, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle were the only 2 you feel good about. There, Deontay Johnson and Chase Claypool, that could be affected there, as well as George Pickens based on the quarterback decision. So Sunday night, Dolphins Steelers in week 7, quarterback questions all the way up maybe to the game day and game night before the kickoff. Deion Jackson, we mentioned, big game there coming off the bench here. You kind of mashed up the roles of Taylor and Hines in big game, but he had a quad injury late, so didn't hold up quite. The Duke product looked excellent in that game. We got all the yards that were available against the Jaguars, so we'll see. But we'll watch all those injuries there. Hines with a concussion, Taylor with an ankle, and Jackson with his quad issue that popped up late that forced him out of the game. Now, let's look at wide receiver. This was the big injury of note here. Marquise Brown hurt his left foot there against the Seahawks. He avoided something major, such as Liz Frank, something that could give him out maybe multiple weeks for sure, but x-rays are negative. He had a walking boot on, so I don't think there's a chance he plays against the Saints. It's a quick turnaround here in week 7. Cardinals play the Saints there on Thursday Night Football, so I don't see that happening. Randall Cobb didn't have the serious injury that he was fearing when he was in tears on the cart, but still a high ankle sprain, it looks like. We'll find out more today. Randall Cobb probably going to miss time here, so Robert Tonyan and Alan Lazard bump up a little more given the issues there with the rest of the veteran core and rookie core of the Packers. Now, Kiki Kuti, he plays for the Colts, if you didn't know that, but well buried behind the depth chart. He missed time there, so again, maybe a little bit more run of Paris Campbell and Alec Pierce there. Jamal Agnew, that could help here. Zay Jones along with Christian Kirk, because keep in mind that Marvin Jones didn't play that game with a hamstring. So Agnew, knee injury, could miss some time. Kendrick Bourne with a toe injury might have more clarity with Devontae Parker and Jacoby Myers there. Cameron Brate continues to sadly get hurt with scary issues here. This time it was a neck injury. He had to be stretchered off the field here. So that could open the door for K. Dotton. They need something out of tight end here in Tampa to help Tom Brady in that offense. So K. Dotton, the rookie, watch out for him having a bigger role here going forward, starting with Carolina this week. So those are really it for the injury issues. So not a lot there at the offensive skill position here. More offensive line injuries for the Rams there. That's a concern up front with Joe Noteboom. Their pass protection is not already that great ahead of Stafford. Miles Garrett still hurting. So that run defense might be continuing to really struggle here as they get the Ravens, Lamar Jackson and Kenny Drake and J.K. Dobbins this week. Those are the main one. The Falcons lost their 2 corners. They're A.J. Terrell and Casey Hayward, so we're going to watch that to see if they need to miss time here this week. The Panthers really depleted the secondary. J.C. Horn banged up, now Dante Jackson with an ankle injury, C.J. Henderson. So another banged-up secondary the Bucks will get here in week 7. Will they take advantage of that? We'll see here. The 49ers really thin here. They didn't have Nick Bosa in that game. Really made it easy treading there for the Falcons in the running game. That could really help the Chiefs this week if Charvarius Ward does not play the revenge game. The former Chiefs in the secondary, they also were without Eric Armstead, Emmanuel Mosley, Nick Bosa. As I mentioned, it's tough there out there for the 49ers. So some closing thoughts. I mean, it was a pretty good overall week. I was really impressed with Kenneth Walker and Breece Hall. Rookie running backs, rookies in general, have been outstanding this season, and I think they'll get better with Dameon Pierce coming off the bye and getting the Raiders this week. So 3 rookie running backs looking like potential RB1s the rest of the way. Walker, Hall, and Pierce. So that's really impressive. And a quarterback, look, what can you say? Josh Allen is still the man. He produces at a high level. But Joe Burrow, I think, is coming quickly there as a guy that is going to put up some big numbers and finish maybe as a QB2 overall, even ahead of Patrick Mahomes. So something to watch there. But again, the most reliable quarterbacks right now, Allen, Mahomes, Burrow, the guy playing on Monday night, Justin Herbert, and a little Kyler Murray, even though he didn't have a touchdown, still the running gives him a lot of upside. Lamar Jackson in that mix as well, and Jalen Hurts, of course, even with the 2 touchdown modest game without a lot of rushing against the Cowboys there. So a little bit of clarity here as we approach midseason with some of the key positions. Fantasy football midseason is actually here. So looking forward to navigating our bye weeks a little well and also roll in. So Eagles, Rams, some significant teams off this week. So a little bit more of a challenge to field a team. So something to worry about. The Bills also not there. So hope you manage your teams this week, and we'll help you do that tomorrow there on Locked On Fantasy Football. Thanks for making Locked On Fantasy Football your first listen every day. We'll do that with our next episode being Pickup Tuesday. We'll look at the waiver wire cross positions. So bye week replacements that we can think about. We'll look at quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, and streaming defenses there. Give you that waiver wire advice you need ahead of improving your team in week 7. For Locked On Fantasy Football, this has been Vinnie Iyer. Make sure you check out the Peacock and Williamson NFL show here as your second listen. Brian Peacock and former NFL scout Matt Williamson give you the expert NFL analysis you need in less than 30 minutes and free and available wherever you get your podcast. Thanks again to Eugenics Athletic Greens and our title sponsor here, PrizePicks. Again, check it out there with the 100% deposit match. Use the promo code Locked On there to take advantage of that. Up to $100 there at PrizePicks. Daily fantasy made easy. Good luck. If you still have people going in the Chargers-Broncos game on Monday night, we'll have reaction to that for Pickup Tuesday, and we'll turn the page to Week 7 tomorrow on Locked On Fantasy Football.